Hi, thank you for joining me. My name is Tanya Kubo, and I'm an author and a speaker. And my area of focus is moms. So, what I like to do is I like to help moms feel good about the choices they make so that they can do great things at home and at work. And if you're watching this tonight or today, depending on where it is in your time zone, you're probably a mom because that's kind of the population I tend to attract. And you may or may not be a regular reader of my blog. You might just follow me here on Facebook, or maybe a friend shared this with you. In fact, if you get value from this video, then I would love it if you would share it with your friends so that they might see if there's any little nuggets or practical tips that they can glean from it as well. So the reason I'm posting this video today is because I want to talk about something that has really been on my mind probably for the last year. It just seems to hit me from all corners, all sides, all the time, which actually makes me sit up and take notice and go, maybe I should do something about this. Maybe I should think a little bit more on that. And in fact, I wrote a blog post about it. And you can find my blog post on my blog, obviously. It's tanyakubo.com, or here on my Facebook page if that's where you're viewing this video. But the name of the blog post is, like the one word solution to living your best life yet. I might actually have that title wrong, but it's really about saying no, but not a knee jerk no, not an exasperated no, but talk, really looking at the things that vie for your time and saying no in an intentional way. And I offer two suggestions for how to say no. But what I want to talk about tonight is I want to unpack those a little bit more because if you're like me, you read these the number one secret to doing whatever, and you go, oh yeah, that sounds all fine and good, but how? Like I always get tripped up in the how, and I know that's because I'm a little bit of an analytic, but also because I think I'm too busy to figure it out. I am way too busy to be researching like the ins and outs in the background of all these things that I find online or that I read or these tips that friends share with me. So I thought that I would share with you sort of like the actual practical boots on the ground way of saying no with intention. And to be clear, like the reason that we want to say no with intention is because it frees us up to say yes to bigger things. I don't mean bigger in terms of income, although that might be, it might be bigger in terms of impact, or maybe bigger things just in things that we are actually a little more suited to do. So first, I want to say that this idea of saying no isn't a new one. In fact, and the two suggestions I make two, right? So it's filtering. I suggest that you filter requests, and I suggest that you embrace the mantra that no is a complete sentence. N-O period. No explanation. But going back to filtering requests, because I think that's something that may sound different just because I might use different words to explain it. But really, like the idea that smart people, that wise women filter requests is not new at all. There are several business experts out there who talk about the need to filter requests. Sheryl Sandberg has talked about it. Michael Bungay Stanier is a leadership coach, and the way he frames it is you should say yes slowly. And Chris Lema, if you Google the guy who says no a lot, you'll find Chris Lema's articles. He sort of has these different types of no he uses to filter requests. And really, what it comes down to, what filtering a request means is asking some questions to find out whether is this request something that anybody can do, right? Anybody could do this. Or the person who's asking for my help actually just needs somebody, like any warm body, anything with a pulse will do. Or is this something that I am uniquely skilled, uniquely experienced, or uniquely qualified to do? Is this something only I can do? So, only I can schedule doctor's appointments for my husband, right? As his wife, like as an adult man, his mom can't do that for him anymore. So if he is unable to schedule doctor's appointments for himself, I am the only person who can do that. I can't delegate that to anyone else. So that is something that I am uniquely qualified to do. If he asks me to schedule a doctor's appointment because he's unable to do it, then I say yes, because, we have young children. They can't do it for him yet either. So that's an example of something that only I am uniquely qualified to do. If somebody needs a book review written, and it's a book that falls in with my interests and the things that I'm passionate about, that is something I'm uniquely qualified to do. Now, I may not be the only writer out there who could review that book, but that is a request that is more specific to me and to my skill set. Now, when my child's school calls and says, we need somebody to run the Halloween carnival, well, you know what? Anybody could do that. Any parent of a child at that school could run the Halloween carnival. A mom could run it, a dad could run it, an aunt could run it, an uncle, grandparents, anybody involved in a student's life could run the Halloween carnival. It doesn't have to be me. I don't have special fundraising experience. I don't have special event planning experience. I don't have a 20-year resume of running Halloween carnivals. There is no reason for me to feel that I am more qualified to run that Halloween carnival than anybody else. So that would probably at this stage of my life be a very easy no for me, because they need someone to do it. But I wouldn't even be on the short list of the best people to do that. So that's what it means to filter requests. It's to ask some questions to find out, are you really the best person for this? Is it something that anyone can do, or is it something that you specifically can do? And so some ways to filter requests, I give you kind of some scripts in the blog, but to kind of just like unpack that a little bit further, some ways that you can filter requests is really just to ask questions, to fight the urge to say yes just because you were asked. And I know some of us love to be of service so much, we love to be helpers, that we're so excited that you asked us to do something, we'll say yes and we won't even think about it. But to really just pause and to say, you know what, let me get back to you on that. And just to give yourself a breather. It doesn't matter whether you decide to say yes or no, but to give yourself a moment to consider the request and to ask yourself, is this something anybody can do, or is this something that only I can do? Something a friend of mine does is she will ask, especially in professional circles, she'll say, am I your first call or am I your last resort? Now, she doesn't take offense on whatever the answer is. But if she finds out, well, no, you're just the first person I thought of, she's flattered, but maybe somebody else could do it. Now, if they say, actually, we've called 15 people and you're like the last person we could think of who meets the qualifications, then she's like, okay, they're desperate. Now I need to consider this under a different light. They have already tried to find somebody else to do this, and they have come to me as their last resort. How do I feel about that? Is this something I'm going to do? Is this something I'm not going to do? She doesn't feel obligated to do it because she's the last resort. But finding out she's the last resort lets her know that they have done due diligence. It also lets her know that she wasn't their first call, which means that, maybe there's a little bit of a negotiation. Like maybe let's use the Halloween carnival example. Go back to that. Let's say it's the Halloween carnival and they said, no, we have asked every single parent. We've had it in the newsletter for a month. We've announced it over the loudspeaker. We've done it on the Connect Ed calls. We have asked everybody and there's nobody. So you are the last person we thought of. She could say, well, you know what? I would be happy to lead the Halloween carnival, but I need a team. I need 25 volunteers to help me. If you will find me 25 volunteers to help, just to assist with the carnival, I am willing to be the leader of the carnival this year. And so that puts her at a point where she can actually make sure that she knows exactly what she's getting into. She sets an expectation. Everybody involved knows what's expected of her and what she expects of them before they even enter into the agreement. So that's another way to go about filtering a request, and then also to negotiate what your yes means. Because there's nothing worse than when we say yes to something and we think we said yes to one thing and they think we said yes to something totally different and usually much bigger and more comprehensive. So that's just what I wanted to talk about. I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear some examples from your real life of how you filter requests. Or is this a new concept for you? I mean, have you ever, Have you ever even stopped to think about whether this is something that you should do or shouldn't do? Or is the idea of saying yes more slowly a new concept for you? Please leave me a comment. Share this if it's helpful to you or you think it will be helpful to somebody else you know. And I look forward to connecting with you further. Have a great day.